Well, we'll talk a little bit more about books and the books and that were helpful to me. Uh, I have to say, I am one of the luckiest human beings ever. I consider myself by the grace of Parvardigar. Uh, the fact that the birth of my first and second son were right the immediate aftermath of the Iranian Revolution kept me here, kept me in the United States, and at least kept me focused enough from going back to Iran, and who knows what would have happened. Chances are I would not have been living. I would be dead with everything that was going on and how I was at the time. So I was very blessed that I had my two sons in my heart to keep me focused on what I had to do. Of course, my first son was not in the picture anymore because of the breakup with his mom, and that's a long story. But my second son was born, and that was just a greatest blessing. So that kept me centered, and by this time I knew that I just did not want to get a PhD in engineering and just teach engineering or engineering related subjects. By mid 80s, my whole attention was how am I going to make a difference in this world? Especially in the aftermath of getting deported right after the American hostages were taken in Iran, and all the headache I had to go through. That I've posted some other videos, and you'll get to see it, and then maybe I'll even expand on those a little bit more later on. Uh, but because of everything that happened in the early 80s, uh, then my focus became, I want to say, a little bit more expansive, a little bit more enlarged. Wanted to do something for humanity. Uh, and I looked at what was happening in Central America and the unfortunate and awful policy that the United States had taken towards the Central American countries, and I wanted to do something that would register my mind not wanting to go along with that. And I'll tell you more about that later on. But that was the thing that I was happy that I could do, not to be used as a tool in this machine of direct or indirect oppression of the poor people in Central America. So I was glad I came across that and could do something about it. And by the time I was finishing school, now mind you, I'm a single parent by this time. I have to work and keep things in perspective. And I was very, very historically unaware about a lot of things at this time. So I was just learning. I saw a documentary on PBS by this good man called The Secret Government about the Iran-Contra deal at the end of Reagan's presidency. And that was a learning experience. There was a short book accompanying that TV documentary that came out, and I took a look at that, and it was interesting because the introduction was written by Commager, which is one of the people that Bill Moyers interviewed, I think in 1989, and this book is a result of those interviews. Yeah, right here. I came across volume 1 and 2 of Bill Moyers' A World of Ideas in the Norman Public Library, And I read those, and I benefited a lot from them. And everything this man has done, Bill Moyers, has been superb. He is truly a person that America and Americans should be proud of. Uh, so I read these conversations. I benefited a lot from a lot of them. Um, and noticed that at this time, this is when I was starting to read the American history, so these were relevant. An example would be like this historian Forrest MacDonald. I had read some things about the American Constitution, Charles Beard's book, and it was good that I came across this and looked at his scholarship and what his take was on the American Constitution. So I read, I think he's got 3 books, maybe 2. I read both of those, and that's why I'm saying I was very lucky. I came across these just at the right time when I had lots of questions to be answered. I wanted to not rush into judgment. And that's one of the things we do when we are young. A lot of us will rush into judgment. So, in that sense, I've been extremely, extremely lucky. I can't go through all these names here, but like Barbara Tuchman, she was an American historian, and 2 of her books, March of Folly and The Proud Tower, are interesting to look at. There's lots to be learned here. Sheldon Wolin, of course. Many more, Martha Nussbaum, Elaine Pagels. List goes on. These are the people that I read about them if I didn't read their works, but I tried to learn from them. It was good. It was perfect timing. And right around this time, I started realizing that I am a 28 Mordadi, and that's in Persian, that's my birthday, and that's 19th of August. And as my knowledge of history was enlarging, getting enlarged, I realized that was the day in 1953 that the British and Americans had staged a coup and overthrown the government of Mossadegh. And that really, really saddened me. And there for a while, for a few years, I would not even remember my own birthday. Or it was a thing I had that sad connection there, so I would just go out of my way not to even think about it, think about my birthday. And I was very fortunate that, again, my son was in my life. I had to do what a single parent has to do, and I had to stay focused. But that gave me another chance to learn more, learn about Iranian history, culture, and look at what was going on in the United States. Why would U.S. and Britain do such a thing? And we'll talk about that some more. But again, it's a blessing of Parvardigar. I did not get too distracted, and I had to keep my eyes on the ball.